The story of the accused witch, Janet Cornfoot, takes place in the year 1704 in the small fishing village of Piteenweem in Fife, on the east coast of Scotland. It began when the young smithy, Patrick Morton, became convinced that a woman called Piteenweem, who had already appeared afore the kirk session for Charman, had cursed him, after which his health deteriorated and he was subject to strange fits and convulsions where his body became rigid and twisted. It was claimed that the laddie was covered in finger marks where he had been pinched by the witch. The local Presbyterian minister, Patrick Cowper, visited the 16-year-old and fed his fearful imagination with lurid tales of demonic possession. And in this fevered state, the laddie accused 5 local women of witchcraft, including Janet Cornfoot, who had a reputation for being outspoken, eager to play his part in fighting the powers of darkness. Cowper and the Baileys rounded up the accused witches and incarcerated them in the toll booth, where they were forcibly kept awake to induce a state of delirium, and viciously pricked to find the deal's mark. Then the minister himself beat Janet with a walking stick, as he extracted a confession in which he allegedly said that old Nick had threatened to tear her to pieces should she dare to confess. The Privy Council were approached to try the accused locally, but they were sent to Edinburgh instead, where the High Court refused to convict Cornfoot and sent her back to Piteenweem. With the costs of imprisonment mounting, all the women were released on bail, except for Janet, who was kept in solitary confinement in the toll booth at the behest of the Calvinist minister. She somehow managed to escape, but was later captured and brought back to the village by an armed guard. Well, that night a lynch mob gathered, and the terrified woman was dragged to the harbour by her ankles, dangled on a long rope that was attached to the masthead of a boat, while the baying horde pelted her with stones. Then she was pulled ashore, where a wooden door was placed upon her body, and heavy piles of boulders were laid upon it, until Janet Cornfoot was literally pressed to death. Still, the bloodthirsty mob were nae satisfied, so they drove a horse and cart over her broken body several times to ensure that she was indeed dead. As a witch, they denied her a Christian burial and all funerary rites. Her murder was investigated. The 4 ringleaders were put in jail and were set to stand trial at the High Court, but the minister ordered their release, so none of the suspects were e'er prosecuted for the brutal murder of Janet Cornfoot. And as for Patrick Cowper, who'd been involved with the allegations, torture, confinement and death of the alleged witch, he continued to preach, telling his flock to be vigilant, for there is still witches in the weem.